You are listening to In Focus with Silvana Pavlovska, broadcasting from Melbourne, Australia. Well, yes, we might be able to hear that song later on. In the meantime, as part of our segment dedicated to history and tradition, we're going to talk about Ilinden. Ilinden, which is the great Orthodox and national Macedonian holiday. So what is the historical significance? What's the religious significance? Because it's coming up very soon. That is the 2nd of August this year. And in honor of that, we will be delivering this segment in English for our English viewers as well as anyone else. So Ilinden, the great Orthodox and national Macedonian holiday. Ilinden, or Day of Saint Ilya, or Elijah, as some people may refer to it, is a great Orthodox and Macedonian national holiday. When we say Orthodox, we are talking about Christian Orthodox, or as opposed to any other religions that may have the word Orthodox in it. So Ilinden, or the Day of Saint Ilya, is a great Orthodox and Macedonian national holiday, which is celebrated on August the 2nd. Ilinden has a special significance in the history of the Macedonian people because on the 2nd of August 1903 began the Ilinden uprising, and in 1944 was held the first meeting of ASNOM, or ASNOM as it is known, Anti-Fascist Council of National Liberation of Macedonia. That's what ASNOM stands for, Anti-Fascist Council of National Liberation of Macedonia. Today, Ilinden tradition is interwoven with patriotic folklore and religious symbols, making Ilinden one of the most important holidays in the Republic of Macedonia, as well as elsewhere where Macedonian people find themselves. Saint Ilya Gromnovnikot, Thundermarked, is one of the cult saints among the Orthodox Macedonians because the Orthodox Church has identified with him with Thunder Perun from the Slavic mythology when the baptism of the Slavic people was performed. The cult of Perun was widely developed in the Macedonian, so they replaced that by the Macedonian, it should say. So they replaced their favorite deity with the Christian saint. This cult of Perun, Elijah, is present in Macedonians even today. Saint Elijah was a miracle worker. Saint Ilya, Saint Elijah, whatever you want to refer to this saint, a Macedonian saint, was a miracle worker, zealous of God for God's faith. He was born in the tribe of Aaron in the city Tesvit and is therefore called the Tesvitianin. Ilinden's uprising against the Ottoman Empire, organized by the TMORO, is one of the largest and most important events in Macedonian history. After the preparations for the uprising against the Ottoman Empire, you may recall the Ottoman Empire was the Turkish Empire, on August the 2nd, 1903, on the Orthodox religious holiday Saint Ilya or Elijah, began the Ilinden uprising. This uprising is known as the Ilinden uprising by the date of beginning. In early January 1903, the Central Committee of VMRO decided to bring the uprising in the summer of that year, Although no favorable internal and external conditions existed in Macedonia, especially because this decision was opposed by several prominent revolutionaries, among whom the most famous was GOCE DELCHEV. However, the uprising marked a new stage of development of the Macedonian national and liberation movement. July the 20th, according to the old calendar, or August the 2nd, 1903, Ilinden, the new calendar, began the Ilinden uprising in Macedonia. It achieved its greatest success in the Bitola revolutionary district. First village that was liberated was Smilevo, then Kruševo, the center of the uprising. On August the 4th, 1903, 600 rebels liberated the town Klisura and held it under their command until the 17th of August. On the 17th of August, the same year, 700 rebels from Kostur and Lerin liberated the town of Neveska. In addition, more Kostur, Lerin, Prespa villages were released or freed, where national government was established. The fiercest battles were fought near the village Ezerets between 300 rebels and 2,000 insurgents from the Ottoman army. The rebels have achieved significant success in Ohrid revolutionary district. There, the fiercest insurgent actions were paramount in Malaysia, Inapa and Loa Debarca, Prespa, Demirhisar, and Kičevo, where many villages were liberated. Violent clashes occurred in villages Pribilci, Karabunica, and Izvor, and even an attempt was made to liberate the town of Kičevo. Exactly 41 years after the Ilinden uprising, in the monastery Prohorpčinski near Kumanovo, 115 delegates held the first ASNOM or ASNOM meeting. ASNOM stands for Anti-Fascist Council of National Liberation of Macedonia, which confirmed the socio-legal state of Macedonia as an equal federal state within the country known as Yugoslavia. The meeting was opened by Panko Brashnarov, oldest delegate and witness of both Ilinden days, saying, "Today is the second Ilinden, the last Ilinden of proprietary Macedonia, when the foundations were put of the Macedonian state." Quotation, elected, I beg your pardon, close of quotation. So I'm going to read this again. The meeting was opened by Panko Brashnarov, eldest delegate and witness of both Ilinden, who said, and we quote, "Today is the second Ilinden, the last Ilinden of proprietary Macedonia, where the foundations were put of the Macedonian state." End of quote. Elected presidium of ASNOM was composed of Metodi Andonov-Cento, who was the president, Panko Brashnarov, and Emanuel Chuchkov, vice presidents, and Ljubcho Arsov and Vladimir Poležinoski as secretaries. The meeting adopted several important documents: decision on the establishment of ASNOM as the supreme legislative and executive representative body of the Democratic Macedonia, decision on the introduction of the Macedonian language as the official language in the Macedonian state, and the Declaration on the Fundamental Rights of Men and Citizens of Democratic Macedonia. From the 28th to 30th of December in liberated Skopje, there was the second meeting held of ASNOM, and from the 14th to the 16th of April 1945, they held the third meeting of ASNOM when a government of the People's Republic of Macedonia was formed and the authorities of the new Macedonian states, the new Macedonian state, were also established. Ilinden, as a national holiday, is a public holiday in Macedonia. The president and the government of Macedonia organize various celebrations in several locations around the country. And traditionally, traditionally, the president feast is celebrated in Kruševo on Mečkin Kamen. That is the bear stone. You may have watched that segment whilst we were playing the introductory music earlier on. And Mečkin Kamen is visited by a large number of state and other delegations and a number of citizens, of course. And due to the problems that the Macedonian delegation had in the past with the Serbian church dignitaries, because now Prohorčinski church belongs to Serbia, allegedly, as a substitute for the dignified celebration of Asnom, Macedonia, near the monastery Prohorčinski, has built a memorial called Pelince. Here, traditionally, the delegation will be present, and the president of the assembly will also be present. Prime Minister of the Republic of Macedonia will join the celebration on the traditional immigrant rally held in the village of Trnovo. Now, something about GOCE DELCHEV, one of the most important sons of Macedonia. GOCE DELCHEV was born in a relatively well-established family, DELCHEV family, from the village of Kukuš. He was born on February the 4th, 1872, as the first male child, the third child in the family DELCHEV, who had 9 children in total. GOCE was surrounded by 3 brothers, Mico, Milan, and Hristo, and 5 sisters, Ruža, Kocatina, Lika, and Elena. His father, Nikola DELCHEV, was also from Kukuš, and his mother, Sultana Nurđijeva, came from the nearby village of Murarci. In his native Kukuš, GOCE DELCHEV spent half of his short life. It is the first almost idyllic phase that encompasses his childhood. The first stage of his schooling is related to the hometown of Kukuš. In other words, he attended his elementary schooling in Kukuš. Here, GOCE received that education and then continued his education in Solun, nowadays known as Thessaloniki, but the original name is Solun, and it's a Macedonian town within the Greek borders nowadays, unfortunately. At the Solun High School, the first public revolutionary appearance of DELCHEV will take place at the celebration dedicated to the birthday of the Sultan Abdul Hamid II. While the crowd present an acclamation, Chok Yasha, long live, the 17-year-old GOCE DELCHEV exclaimed loudly, Asha, which means dolu or down, which strongly raised his reputation in the Solun community. Later, as a cadet at a military school in Sofia, which is part of Bulgaria, nowadays he secretly visited the socialist circles and spread socialist literature, our information tells us, for which he was excluded from the school. In 1894, GOCE was appointed teacher in the town of Štip, that's in Macedonia, where he met Dame Gruev, one of the founders of the TMORO, or Tajna Makedonsko-Odrinska revolucionarna organizacija. From 1896, he joined the ranks of the organization, and until his death, he was in the Central Committee of the TMRO. During frequent tours throughout Macedonia, he worked on creating an organization network with healthy and solid bases, committees of the organization. He expresses all his love and concern for Macedonia in his letter to Dame Gruev in 1894. And we quote, "Can there be another place for a Macedonian other than Macedonia? Are there people who are more unhappy than the Macedonians? And is there somewhere in the wider field for work than in Macedonia?" End of quote. At the Solun Congress of VMRO from 1896, together with Gjorđe Petrov, were assigned the task of drafting the draft constitution of the rule book of the organization. And since then, until 1901, he was a borderline representative of the VMRO in Sofia, where he led a long and difficult battle with the supremacists. GOCE DELCHEV advocated for independent development of the movement and organization of the Macedonian masses, regardless of their faith and national affiliation. The liberation of Macedonia was seen as its inner work. Quote, "We don't mean to do politics or let others do politics with Macedonia. Our struggle for us is life or death. We will not allow others to decide whether to live or to die. The people will choose when the uprising will be settled," he said, end of quote. He said, quote again, "We cannot hope for foreign help, not to wait for help from Bulgaria, nor from any other force, but we need to prepare ourselves from within to penetrate that idea in the soul of every peasant," end of quote. So he was seriously upset when he heard about the Central Committee's decision to raise a premature uprising. While acting for the autonomy and independence of the Macedonian Revolutionary Organization, the external and infiltrated internal tools with Ivan Garvanov, under instructions from the government and the Prince of Bulgaria, prepared to raise a premature uprising in Macedonia. DELCHEV rejected the decision of the Solun Congress, which was held from the 15th to the 17th of January 1903, to raise an uprising, and with a company left in the interior of Macedonia with the leading cadres to make a withdrawal of the decision. On April 19th to 20th, the same year, GOCE DELCHEV arrived in Solun, where he had several meetings with Dame Gruev, who had just returned from imprisonment. He's considered the issue of raising the uprising with him, but he didn't manage to reassure him. He went to Solun's Congress of the Revolutionary District of Ser, scheduled for May the 6th, arrived at the village of Banica, Ser, on May the 3rd, and he was followed all the way from Sofia to Solun and then betrayed. In the dawn of May the 4th, 1903, GOCE DELCHEV and his entourage were informed by the crowd that they were besieged by the Turkish army. GOCE orders to get out of the house where they were housed and to retreat to save the village from being destroyed. That bitter morning, I should say, for the Macedonian people in the fight with the Turkish army, GOCE DELCHEV was murdered. GOCE's self-sacrifice for liberation of the people of Macedonia and Odrin, the region, and the creation of an independent, autonomous Macedonian state brought him recognition and respect. His name became a legend woven into the consciousness of the Macedonian masses. His name excited the Macedonian generations. With that name, the Macedonian Progressive Forces led the struggle of the Macedonian people for national and social liberation in a completely new socio-political situation. His remains were first kept in Banica, the village of Banica, until 1917, when they were transferred to Hantli and then to Sofia. Until 1923, the bone chest kept in the house of Mikhail Chakov, where it was written, we quote, "We are cursing the following generations that the sacred bones will be buried in the capital of an independent Macedonia." August 1923, Ilinden, end of quote. The covenant was fulfilled, and on October the 11th, 1946, the bones were transferred to Skopje in the church of Saint Spas, which is in the capital city of Skopje. So that was the segment on our history and tradition titled Ilinden, the Great Orthodox and National Macedonian Holiday. Let's finish off today's program with the music we started off. I thank you for attending this or watching this program and look forward to seeing you again soon.
da go slavi me Ilinden. Razvej si zemljo moja, zname naša boja, alova crvena. Razvej si zemljo moja, zname naša boja, alova crvena. Danes me celi svet od nebeli, duri deneska. Verba od tebe, ti si sonac Bože, ne može, ne može. Brani me sega, se koja peda, naša od pradeda. Nema me drugo, jedino da smesite Ilinden, 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 Ilinden. Stani Makedonijo na noze, site da go slavi me Ilinden. Razvej si zemljo moja, zname naša boja, alova crvena. Razvej si zemljo moja, zname naša boja, alova crvena. Stani Makedonijo na noze, site da go slavi me Ilinden. Razvej si zemljo moja, zname naša boja, alova crvena. Razvej si zemljo moja, zname naša boja, alova